Got a. How are we all doing today? I hope that everybody had a nice weekend. I had one of those weekends where I'm happy to have a job where I sit. We kind of tackled the last frontier of the house that we moved in August. So we had one room where we just dump everything. And this past weekend, we organized that room and made it usable. So, well, it was productive, and I feel so much better for having done that. I'm glad to be able to sit for a little bit because, whew, I am stiff and sore. All right. So you can see we're going to be focusing on Macbeth Act 4 this week. So before we get into our interactive video where we actually see the act that we're going to be doing, I have a little matching thing so that everybody can put what event went with what act. Just kind of a little refresher of what we're doing and where we are in the play. And then we'll have our interactive video of where you get to see the play and it's got different activities to do throughout. And then at the end, I have multiple choice questions. And this isn't really uh, treated like a quiz grade wise. This is more of a check in to see how well you understood the act that you just looked at. So we are going to be working on Macbeth Act 4, which I'm not sure if you noticed this. Next week, we'll be doing the last act. So you will see how this whole thing ends. And then we can look at the play as a whole instead of just little chunks here and there. But I think that looking at it an act at a time really does help because when you do it this way, you kind of get to see it all together. A lot of times you don't have block classes like what we have here, and you only have, let's say, 45 minutes with students. It makes it a little difficult because you just get into the good stuff and it's like the bell rings. So I like having these hour-long things to look at a full act at one time and then kind of go about it that way. So, all right. So we will start with our first activity, which is our warm up. So, which act goes to which event? You know what would help? I sent the link to everybody. Sorry about that. I am putting the link in in the chat. Oh man, it's Monday. Definitely a very Monday. All right, so I just sent that to you guys so that everybody can get into this Nearpod and be able to work on the matching. And then we'll have our interactive video. We just had somebody join us, so I'm going to give person a little bit of time to get in there. Those of you that have gotten in, look like you've already completed it. So I'm just going to give 2 minutes on this one, and then we're going to get into the video where we actually are going to watch Act 4. Right, we're going to move on to the next one. All right, so it's the same production we had before. By the way, Nearpod is not doing as much with the taking out of the commercials. So commercial pops up, I will take care of it as soon as possible. But now Nearpod kind of let us down on that one. That was one of the really good things. Okay, so as of Act 3, who is sitting on the throne of Scotland? Do we have Duncan, Macduff, Macbeth, Malcolm? Who could it be? Okay, good. Macbeth is sitting on the throne. I was hoping everybody would get that one because just went over that with the magic.
Thrice the brinded cat had mewed, thrice and once the hedge pig whined.
Harpier cries, "'Tis time, 'tis time."
Round about the cauldron go, in the poison entrails throw, told that under cold stone, day and night had 31 sweltered venom, sleeping got, boil thou first in the charmed pot. Double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble, fillet of a fenny snake, In the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog.
Do you imagine their Instacart order?
Adder's fork and blind worm's sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble. Double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulf of the raven salt sea shark, root of the hemlock, digged in the dark, liver of blaspheming Jew, gall of goat and slips of yew silvered in the moon's eclipse, nose of Turk, and Tartar's lips, finger of birth-strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab, make the gruel thick and slab. Add thereto a tiger's chaudron for the ingredients of our cauldron. Double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Cool it with a baboon's blood. Then the charm is firm and good. By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Open locks, whoever knocks.
Hopefully it's not a neighbor coming over for the soup that they're making.
How now, you secret black and midnight hags, what is't you do?
A deed without a name.
Wow. Does Macbeth know how to do an entrance or what? He basically insults them and calls them hags. Oh, honestly, after that, I'd be like, here, have some soup. That's just not nice.
I conjure you by that which you profess, howe'er you come to know it, answer me.
Speak. Demand.
Will answer.
Say if thou rather hear it from our mouths or from our masters.
Call him, let me see him.
Pour in sow's blood that had eaten her 9 pharaohs. Grease that sweating from the murder's gibbet. Throw into the flame. Come high or low, thyself and office deftly show.
Tell me, thou unknown power.
He shall not be commanded. Hear his speech, but say thou not.
Whate'er thou art, for thy good caution, thanks. Thou hast harped my fear aright. But one word more.
He shall not be commanded. Here's another, more potent than the first.
Macbeth!
Had I 3 ears, I'd hear thee.
Be bloody, bold, and resolute. Laugh to scorn the power of men, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth.
Then live, Macduff, what need I fear of thee? But yet I'll make assurance double sure, and take a bond of fate. Thou shalt not live, that I may tell pale-hearted fear it lies, and sleep in spite of thunder. What is this that rises like the issue of a king and wears upon his baby brow the round and top of sovereignty.
Proud, and take no care who chafes, who frets, or where conspirers are. Macbeth shall never vanquish peace until great burning wood to hard Dunsinane Hill shall come against him.
That will never be! Who can impress the forest, bid the tree unfix his earthbound root? Sweet bodements good, rebellion's head, rise never till the wood of Burnham rise. And our high place Macbeth shall live the lease of nature, pay his breath to time and mortal custom. Yet my heart throbs to know one thing. Tell me, if your art can tell so much, shall Banquo's issue ever reign in this kingdom?
Seek to know no more.
I will be satisfied. Deny me this, and an eternal curse fall on you. What?
So clearly these ladies have more power than a human king. So, he did not get off on a very good foot with them by insulting them. And now they bring out a barrage of people that he was responsible for them not being on the earth anymore, having an untimely death. And so now he's trying to threaten them in order to get them under his command. So, he's kind of going above and beyond what he can do as an earthly king.
What noise is this? Why sinks the cauldron?
Show his eyes and grieve his heart. Come like shadows, so depart.
Thou art too like the spirit of Banquo down, thy crown to sear mine eyeballs. And thy hair, thou other gold-bound brow, is like the first. A third is like the former. Filthy hags, why do you show me this? A fourth? Stars, eyes! What, will the line stretch out to the crack of doom? Another yet? A seventh? I'll see no more! And yet the eighth appears, who bears a glass that shows me many more. In some I see that twofold balls and treble scepters carry. Horrible sight! And now I see 'tis true. For the blood-boltered Banquo smiles upon me and points at them for his. What? Is this so?
Aye, sir, it is so. But why stands Macbeth thus amazedly? Come, sisters, cheer we his sprites and show the best of our delights. I'll charm the air to make a sound while you perform antics round, that this great king may kindly say, our duties did his welcome pay.
So if Macbeth were to be in Scrooge's place for Christmas Carol, this would be kind of like the ghost of the past, and apparently his would just be full of all the people that were killed because of him. So I don't often see something or read something that makes Scrooge from Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol seem nicer or better. Macbeth's got him beat.
this pernicious hour.
Hey, what does Macbeth ask the witches to reveal to him in Act 4, Scene 1? So, does he want the identity of the person who will kill him, the future of his reign and the fate of Banquo's descendants, the location of the witch's master, or the secret of their magic and how to control it? You have another minute on this one before I start off? Continue. That's only the first scene of 4, and this is the rest of Act 4. So long first scene. That one. Here we go.
Stand I accursed in the calendar. Come in without there.
What's your grace's will?
Saw you the weird sisters.
No, my lord.
Came they not by you?
No, indeed, my lord.
Infected be the air whereon they ride, and damned all those that trust them. I did hear the galloping of horse who was came by.
'Tis 2 or 3, my lord, that bring you word Macduff has fled to England.
Fled to England?
Aye, my good.
So remember when Duncan was murdered, his sons went to different places. Malcolm, the heir to the throne, the older son, was the one that went to England.
Good lord.
Time, thou anticipatest my dread exploits. The flighty purpose never is o'ertook unless the deed go with it. From this moment, the very firstlings of my heart shall be the firstlings of my hand. And even now to crown my thoughts with acts, be it thought and done. The castle of Macduff I will surprise, seize upon Fife, give to the edge of the sword his wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line. No boasting like a fool. This deed I'll do before this purpose cool. But no more sights. Where are these gentlemen? Come, bring me where they are.
To make him fly the land.
You must have patience, madam.
He had none. His flight was madness. When our actions do not, our fears do make us traitors.
You know not whether it was his wisdom or his fear.
Wisdom. To leave his wife. To leave his babes. To leave his mansion and his titles in a place from whence himself does fly. He loves us not. He wants the natural touch. For the poor wren, the most diminutive of...
So this lady is Macduff's wife. So this is Lady Macduff. Now, Macduff is the one that they were just talking about, how he went to England. So you have Macbeth on the throne because he murdered Duncan the king, and then the person that would have taken the throne, Malcolm, fled because he was afraid that he was next. And Donalbain, which is Malcolm's younger brother, he would be number two to the throne after Duncan. He also fled. I think he went to Ireland. And so then we have the prince is gone. So then it falls to Macbeth, and that's why Macbeth is on the throne, which was what he wanted. So Macduff is now going to England. So that doesn't look too good as far as Macduff's intentions. So this is Macduff's family that he left behind in Scotland when he went to go over to England.
Of birds will fight, her young ones in the nest against the owl. All is the fear, and nothing is the love. As little as the wisdom where the flight so runs against all
My
reason.
dearest cousin, I pray you school yourself. But for your husband, he is noble, wise, judicious, and best knows the fits of the season. Now I dare not speak much further, but cruel are the times when we are traitors and do not know ourselves. I take my leave of you. It shall not be long, but I'll be here again. Things at the worst must cease, or else climb upward to what they were before. My pretty cousin, blessing upon you.
Fathered he is, and yet he's fatherless.
I am so much a fool, should I stay longer? It would be my disgrace and your discomfort. I take my leave at once.
Sira, your father's dead. What will you do now? How will you live?
As birds do, Mother.
What, with worms and flies?
Great way to start off your conversation with your kid. Your father's dead. What's your next plan? So they're having this very morbid conversation. And so this is going to play into things that unfold later. So pay close attention to the subject matter that these two are discussing.
With what I get, I mean, and so do they.
Poor bird. Thou wouldst never fear the net nor lime, the pitfall nor the gin.
Why should I, Mother? Poor birds, they are not set for. My father is not dead, for all you're saying.
Yes, he is dead. Now how wilt thou do for a father?
Nay, how you do for a husband.
Why, I can buy me 20 at any market.
Then you buy him to sell again.
Thou talkst with all thy wit, and yet if faith with wit enough for thee.
Was my father a traitor, Mother?
Aye, that he was.
What is a traitor?
Why, one that swears and lies.
And be all traitors that do so?
Everyone that does so is a traitor and must be hanged.
And must they all be hanged that swear and lie?
Everyone.
Who must hang them?
Why, the honest men. Now God help thee, poor monkey, but how wilt thou do for a father?
If he were dead, you'd weep for him. If you would not, it were a good sign that I should quickly have a new father.
Poor prattler, how thou talkst.
Bless you, fair dame. I am not to you known, though in your state of honor I'm perfect. I doubt some danger does approach you nearly. If you will take a homely man's advice, be not found here. Hence! Hence with your little ones! To fright you thus, methinks I am too savage. To do worse to you were fell cruelty, which is too nigh your person. Heaven preserve you. I dare abide no longer.
Whither should I fly? I've done no harm. But alas, I remember now I'm in this earthly world, where to do harm often laudable, to do good sometime accounted dangerous folly. Why then, alas, do I put up that womanly defense to say I have done no harm? What are these spaces?
Where's your husband?
I hope in no place so unsanctified where thou mayst find him.
He's a traitor.
Thou liest, thou shag-haired villain!
What? You egg!
No!
Young fry of treachery!
No!
He has killed me,
No!
Run away.
No! Please, no! No! Please, no! No! No!
It's a foreshadow of what happened in this part of the scene. Does Lady Macbeth feel her children are in danger? Lady Macduff and Lady Macbeth had a fight, each saying the other would die first. Lady Macduff and her sons discuss Macduff's death, or Lady Macbeth tells Macbeth that he needs to increase security because they are in danger. Very good. So, 100% correct. They are discussing Macduff's death, and they are assuming that he is dead based on the news they got. So, Macduff has gone to England. Yes, that's true. Um, it is traitorous to Macbeth as king because getting the heirs to Duncan's line to possibly take his place, have an uprising. This could go many ways. That is traitorous to Macbeth as king. But Macduff is not convinced that Macbeth should be on the throne. So while he's a traitor to Macbeth's reign, he is actually being loyal to Duncan's reign by putting the person on the throne that should be there. So in their discussing of Macduff's death, it actually foreshadows their own. So they show the little boy, the oldest son, being killed, and then they kind of allude to the rest of them. So while Macduff is in England, Macbeth has his family taken out.
Let us seek out some desolate shade, and there weep our sad bosoms empty.
Let us rather hold fast the mortal sword, and like good men, bestride our downfallen birthdom. Each new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, that it resounds as if it felt with Scotland, and yelled out like syllable of dolor.
What I believe, I'll wail. What no believe, and what I can redress, as I shall find the time to, friend, I will. What you have spoke, it may be so, perchance. This tyrant, whose sole name blisters our tongues, was once thought honest.
That's Malcolm, and he's talking to Macduff. So they're in England now.
You have loved him well. He hath not touched you yet. I am young, and something you may deserve of him through me, and wisdom to offer up a weak, poor, innocent lamb to appease an angry god.
I am not treacherous.
But Macbeth is. A good and virtuous nature may recoil in an imperial charge. Oh, but I shall crave your pardon. What you are, my thoughts cannot transpose. Angels are bright still, though the brightest fell. Though all things foul should wear the brows of grace, yet grace must still look so.
I have lost my hopes.
Oh, perchance even there where I did find my doubts. Why in that rawness left you wife and child? Those precious motives, those strong knots of love, without leave-taking. You may be rightly just whatever I shall think.
Bleed, poor country. Great tyranny, lay thou thy basis sure. For goodness dare not check thee. Fare thee well, Lord. I would not be the villain that thou think'st, for the whole space that's in the tyrant's grasp, and the rich east to boot.
Oh, be not offended. I speak not as an absolute fear of you. I think our country sinks beneath the yoke. It weeps, it bleeds, and each new day a gash is added to her wounds. I think withal there would be hands uplifted in my right.
So these guys, not knowing what actually happened, have actually discussed what did happen. So Malcolm, he actually is speaking quite very wise words for somebody that is young and has not had the seasoning of an older person. So this shows that Duncan really took care to include him in what he was doing and being able to pick up and go when it's his time. He's like, why would you leave your wife and your kids there if you're coming on this mission? And he actually makes Macduff seem like he's doing something he shouldn't. Um, so when Macduff is just like, look, yeah, we got someone on the throne, but it's not great. Things are not good. Uh, Malcolm pulls a part from the scriptures that talk about how the angels fell. So this is very, very early on in Genesis, where they talk about how a third of the angels, and some of them are called the brightest angels, fell. So they look good. They look like they should be up to something good, but obviously they weren't because they ended up falling from grace.
And here, from gracious England, have I offer of goodly thousands. But for all this, when I shall tread upon the tyrant's head, or wear it on my sword, yet my poor country shall have more vices than it had before, more suffer, and more sundry ways than ever by him that shall succeed.
What should he be?
It is myself, I mean, in whom I know all the particulars of vice so grafted that when they shall be opened, black Macbeth will seem as pure as snow, and the poor state esteem him as a lamb, being compared with my confineless harms.
Not in the legions of horrid hell can come a devil more damned in evils to top Macbeth.
Oh, I grant him bloody. Luxurious, avaricious, false, deceitful, sudden, malicious, smacking of every sin that has a name, but better Macbeth than such an one as I to reign, the king becoming graces, as justice, verity, temperance, patience, stableness, bounty, perseverance, mercy, lowliness, devotion, patience, courage, fortitude. I have no relish of them, but abound in the division of each several crime, acting it many ways. Nay, had I power, I should pour the sweet milk of Concord into hell, uproar the universal peace, confound all unity on earth.
Oh, Scotland, Scotland.
If such an one be fit to govern, speak. I am as I have spoken.
Fit to govern? No, not to live. Oh, nation miserable, with an untitled tyrant bloody sceptered, when shalt thou see thy wholesome days again? Since that the truest issue of thy throne by his own interdiction stands accursed, and does blaspheme his breed. Thy royal father was a most sainted king. The queen that bore thee, oftener upon her knees than on her feet, died every day she lived. Fare thee well. These evils thou repeatest upon thyself have banished me from Scotland.
So that scene in The Lion King where Nala goes to find Simba and was like, hey, you have to come back and come back to Pride Rock because, your uncle is making things down. That's kind of what's going on here. Macduff is trying to reason with Malcolm and be like, look, it's awful. And the way to make it not awful is for you to come back and continue what your father, and he called him a saintly king. So, kind of like Mufasa, he definitely is a saintly king, and he respects and has boundaries and that kind of a thing. And are we surprised at all that Macbeth is a bit selfish and violent and, all of these things that they have shown before? So, this is a very important exchange because, we're going to see how things tie up and everything like that. And, we've got to know who is going to defeat whom. And you have to have somebody on the throne. So if let's say Macbeth is killed, which I'm not saying he is because I don't want to do spoilers, is it going to be Malcolm that's sitting on the throne? Or if Malcolm doesn't come back, who's it going to be left up to? So Macduff is really trying to make it so that Malcolm comes back so that there's not instability, well, okay, more instability in Scotland. So that he wants to restore uh, the way things were when Duncan was in the throne.
Oh, my breast. Thy hope ends here.
Macduff, this noble passion, child of integrity, hath from my soul wiped the black scruples, reconciled my thoughts to thy good truth and honor. Devilish Macbeth hath by many of these trains sought to win me into his power, and modest wisdom plucks me from overcredulous haste. But God above deal between thee and me. For even now I put myself to thy direction, and unspeak mine own detraction. Here abjure the taints and blames I laid upon myself, for strangers to my nature. My first false speaking was this upon myself. What I am truly is thine and my poor country's to command. Whither indeed, before thy here approach, old seaward with 10,000 warlike men already at a point was setting forth. Now wheeled together, and our chance of goodness be like our warranted quarrel. Why are you silent?
Such welcome and unwelcome things at once, 'tis hard to reconcile. See, who comes here?
It is my kinsman, yet I know him not.
My ever-gentle cousin. Welcome hither.
Good God, betimes remove the means that make us strangers.
Sir, amen. Stand Scotland where it did.
Alas, poor country, almost afraid to know itself. Not be called our mother, but our grave, where nothing but who knows nothing is there seen to smile, where sighs and groans and shrieks that rend the air are made, not marked. Where violent sorrow seems a modern ecstasy, are the dead men's knell is there scarce asked for who. And good men's lives expire before the flowers in their caps, dying or ere they sicken.
Oh, relation, too nice, yet too true.
What's the newest grief?
Out of an hour's age does hiss the speaker, each minute teems a new one.
How does my wife?
Why, well?
And all my children?
Well, too.
The tyrant.
That's the guy that was talking to the wife and the kids, and he was, because he calls them cousins there too. So everything kind of went to pot after this guy left. So he's like, good, everything's great, just solemn. Everybody's happy.
Tyrant has not battered at their peace.
No, they were well at peace when I did leave them.
Be not ungenerous of speech. How goest?
When I came hither to transport the tidings which I have so heavily borne, there ran a rumor of many worthy fellows that were out, the which was to my knowledge witness the rather, for that I saw the tyrant's power afoot. Now is the time of help. Your eye in Scotland would create us soldiers that make our women fight to doff their dire distresses.
Be it their comfort, we are coming thither. Gracious England hath lent us 10,000 men, and old Seaward, an older and better soldier none that Christendom gives out.
Would I could answer this comfort with the like. I have words that would be howled out in the desert air where hearing should not latch them.
What concern they? The general cause? Or is it a fee grief due to some single breast?
No mind that's honest, but in it shares some part of the woe, though the main part pertains to you alone.
If it be mine, keep it not from me. Quickly let me have it.
Let not your ears despise my tongue forever, which shall possess them with the heaviest sound that e'er they heard.
Guess at it.
Your castle is surprised, your wife and children savagely slaughtered. To relate the manner were on the quarry of these murdered deer, to add the death of you.
So Guess he couldn't lead off with this because he couldn't tell Malcolm, but things are not going good in Scotland. And I don't know if I would have been able to mask the good news that I would have to say in front. I think I would just be such a mess with that happening that I don't think I would have been able to do that. But Macduff is definitely um got motivation now to take down Macbeth. He had it before, but let's face it, now he does not have much to lose.
Merciful heavens. What man, ne'er pull your hat upon your brow, give sorrow words. The grief that does not speak whispers the o'erfraught heart and bids it break.
My children, too? Wife, children, servants, all that could be found. And I must be from thence. My wife killed, too?
I have said,
Be comforted. Let's make us medicines of our great revenge to cure this deadly grief.
Yes, let's find the silver lining of this is what they're doing. So in when he's asking again, he told him his wife and kids, and he's like, and my kids? Yes. And my wife? Yes. Because he's having a hard time accepting this information because he's so overwhelmed by all of the bad information he's getting. So, um, thankfully, I've never been put in this spot. I've had it before where I've lost people. But to lose somebody's family all in one swoop, oh, I could not imagine. I don't think I would have accepted that information too easily myself.
He has no children. All my pretty ones? Did you say all? Oh, hellkite! All? What? All my pretty chickens and their dam at one fell swoop?
Dispute it like a man.
I shall do so. But I must also feel it as a man. I cannot but remember such things were, that were most precious to me. Did heaven look on and would not take their part? Sinful Macduff, they were all struck for thee. Not that I am, not for their own demerits, but for mine, fell slaughter on their souls. Heaven rest them now.
Be this the whetstone of your sword. Let grief convert to anger, blunt not the heart, enrage it.
Oh, I could play the woman with mine eyes.
So he's kind of like, sorry for your loss, but let's stay focused on what we have to do here.
And braggart with my tongue. But gentle heaven, cut short all intermission. Front to front, bring thou this fiend of Scotland and myself. Within my sword sling, set him! If he escape, heaven forgive him too.
This tune goes manly. Come, go we to the king. Our power is ready. Our lack is nothing but our leave. Macbeth is ripe for shaking. The powers above put on their instruments. Receive what cheer you may. The night is long that never finds the day.
Hey. There it is. 3 important things that happened in this act and 2 observations, 1 question. So I am pausing it so that if you are answering, it won't show up on the screen. So it'll stay like this even if you turn it in. So I want to hear your thoughts on it. And then after you have some time on this one, then we've got the multiple choice thing where I can kind of find out where you're at with your understanding of Act 4. So I have just turned this slide and the multiple choice slide on student paced. So once you have turned in this one, then you can move on to the other one, the multiple choice. So that just opened for you guys. I got my first question in from the written response. The significance of the prophecies. Excellent question. So, if we didn't have witches in our plot that would tell things that are going to happen, it would be a very different story. So, basically, the prophecy that Macbeth first gets, saying that he is going to have titles and eventually be king, puts that in his mind. Up until that point, he was fine with where he was. He had land and titles, and he was a distant relative of the king. So things were going pretty good for him. He was winning battles. and everything was going great. And then all of a sudden, this prophecy comes in, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm supposed to be king. Well, let's make that happen." So then that motivates the character to go in this path that is actually quite disastrous. And then later on, as we just see in this one, he goes back to the witches. Now he is relying on them as a source. So instead of going to people that would give him good advice, he's resorting to talking to these ladies that give him little things to look for in the future, little things to expect. And he has to put them together in his human mind, which don't always go together very well. So then he makes more bad decisions. We have more people dying. So, had he not gone back to find out what was going on and all those ghosts coming back to visit him and scare him, so he's anxious and really fearful of what's going on because he murdered the last king. So they're Catholics, so they don't really believe in karma, but he's now sitting on the throne that the last person was murdered in. So he has filled his shoes. And they're just like, "Oh, people are coming after you." So guess what he has to do now? He has to take out more people. So what ended up being just one person has to die for him to get on the throne. Now his body count is stacking up. So I would say it adds the horror to the story. Yes, I like that question. I'm looking forward to getting some more. Ah, just went in my ear. I have to close that out because it's messing up. I will get us back into Nearpod because it wouldn't let me see the video that we were in. So I'm going to resume that one that we were just in. So hopefully it stayed up for you. If not, I'm bringing it back up again. It's the same link as before. My goodness. Okay, Nearpod. I'm going to do a student paced one for you guys to work on because they're doing kinds of weird things here. I am going to be writing a complaint to Nearpod about stuff that keeps popping up. All right. So here is the student pace link. And this is the one that will show up in Canvas when the assignment pops up. So if you did not make progress on especially the last two things um, from the Nearpod that we were in, then you can work on just at least those two things so that I can see that you've got those done. very happy we can hear about. First, they stopped taking the commercials out of the YouTube video. Now they start playing commercials in the middle of the lessons. Another good question. How would the play be different if Macbeth didn't kill Macduff's wife and child? Hey, so Macduff already wanted Macbeth off the throne, and he is taking strides in order to make that happen and restore Malcolm to the throne. So basically, Macbeth just kind of poured gasoline on that fire and just enraged Macduff. Now, Macduff has really no reason to back down, no reason to go easy on him, and he just full out is going to go after Macbeth. Another question. Um, so why does Macbeth know Macduff will betray him? Good. So when Duncan was murdered, Macduff was the one that discovered it. And Macbeth was like, oh, look, guys who are supposed to be doing security, it's daggers. They must have done it. Macduff did not jump on board with that. He wasn't like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what happened. He showed his hand a little too much, where he's like, something's going on here. Also, Macbeth knows that Macduff is going to England. What is the only reason he would be going into England? Is to get Malcolm, who went there after Duncan was murdered. So Macbeth is also very uneasy. He is very unstable at this point. So people that are not going to fan his ego and reassure him and that sort of thing, he is automatically going to say, hey, that is my enemy. And he's not holding things in. He's being very obvious. And he's like out Banquo. Dude was like his best friend. And he had him taken out to get all this stuff taken care of. So yeah, he is people should not play poker together. Put it that way. That's all the questions I have right now. Good. I like getting the questions from you guys because you even help me see things in different ways. Sometimes I just read things and I don't look into it further, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that happened. But I like that you guys are picking out things that make the story more intriguing for me too. It's quite the gory one, isn't it? Everybody, nice seeing you.